My friends, now be honest now. Have you ever fantasized about being important and great? Can you imagine the feeling when you walk into a room and they're playing Hail to the Chief? Or you spike the football at the end zone and make the winning touchdown at the Super Bowl? Something deep within us cries out to be recognized as being somebody, as being important, to attain, to achieve, to be great. Now, such is the scenario with James and John. Now, take a moment to get into the scene. Jesus and his disciples are on the way to Jerusalem. Jesus soon will be put to death. Jesus tells them once again that he will suffer, be put to death, and rise 3 days later. Now, James and John totally misread the entire situation. As Jesus pours out this most poignant thing that he has ever said to them, they blunder in with a totally selfish agenda. See to it that we sit one at your right and one at your left when you come into your kingdom. How totally insensitive, we would say. These two disciples are so wrapped up in their need to be somebody that they aren't listening as Jesus expresses and explains their mission. However, he doesn't rebuke them because of their request. He simply seeks to redirect it. He said, "Whoever would be great among you must be your servant. For the Son of God came not to be served, but to serve, to give his life as a ransom." He helps us, in other words, focus our quest to be somebody where it needs to be focused. You see, greatness has more to do with partnership than with position and power. Culture tends to confuse greatness with pedestals, and Jesus associates greatness with partnership in ministry. "Are you able to drink the cup that I drink?" he asked. Now, at any royal feast, it was the custom of the king to hand the cup to those who shared his table. It was a way of saying, since we shared the struggles of the kingdom together, so now let us share the joys as well. Had they realized that the places of honor at his right and left in his kingdom were not honored seats, but crosses, they might not have been so eager to share his pilgrimage. Jesus asked them, "Can you drink the cup of partnership with me?" Now, greatness also has more to do with involvement than with ambition or authority. "Are you willing to be baptized with my baptism?" Jesus asked. Now, the Greek verb for baptism means to dip. It is frequently used to describe being submerged into an experience. So, in other words, Jesus was asking them, "Are you willing to be submerged in the mission of God with me?" Now, there's a story about a young nurse who had long dreamed of being a surgical assistant. Well, finally, the day came when she was called to work with the most eminent surgeon in the hospital. Now, the surgery proceeded well, and she was feeling good about herself as the time came to close the incision. "We'll close now," said the surgeon, "suture." But the nurse, responsible for the sponge count, responded, "We use 12 sponges, doctor. I only have 11. "Do you question my authority?" "Young woman," I said, "we'll close now, suture." "But doctor, I have only 11 sponges." "Don't be impudent," I said, "suture." At that, the young nurse fairly blazed, "But doctor, think of the patient." The eminent surgeon smiled, lifted his foot, and there was the final sponge. He had been testing her. You see, a surgical nurse needs a sort of integrity that is involved in submerged in patient well-being. He wanted to see if she really had what it takes to share his pilgrimage, and he hired her permanently. You see, that's the kind of greatness Jesus wants for you and for me. Passionately involved, genuinely invested in caring about people and doing our best to serve them.